I'm going to do that. I'm just giving that to everybody, and then I'll just do the meatballs. And I've got these. They're called cake pots.
Yeah.
And you use cake and frosting, and you dip them in
Right,
chocolate.
you're
Well,
live.
it's going to be laced with some heat.
Nice.
With the chocolate, and then I'm doing a pico de gallo, and I'm just going to use the jalapenos, and I'm going to not make it super hot, but I'm going to make my own chips. I've done that before, and bring that. So it'll be fun. I love doing this.
Yeah,
I just think it's a blast. I'm glad she's doing it. We get the garage done in that, and she doesn't want to do it. We can do it here because we're hopefully get a restroom in there, and then everybody, when we have the music here,
Yeah,
they won't have to. They won't have to. The lights. We only got one light, but when they play, the lights are on here, and this is usually pushed back, and they can play here and stuff like that. So.
Oh, got my first comment.
Oh, who's that?
Becca Detman.
Oh,
Oh, we're live.
Yep.
yeah.
You guys are live.
All right.
You are live. Oh,
All right. So
Carol
we're
Spencer,
going to welcome
Jennifer
everybody.
Loves, Vicki Horton, John Sacchetti. Good evening, you guys.
Jennifer, you'd be drooling at all these peppers that are sitting in front of us. It's such a beautiful picture. Well, you had that picture of your tubs. I mean, that was a freaking awesome picture.
Yeah.
Carlson said Scuba's a slacker.
Yeah, he didn't want to come. Mary.
Oh, Cassie's on.
Mary.
Hello, husband and bud.
Hi, kids. Whichever camera.
That's the camera.
That's the camera.
That's the camera.
Yeah, Mary. Steve is at home with he said a hot bath and a heating pad because he had to build a wall. And you probably saw him laying the sod across the street from you this afternoon because they laid 75 rolls of sod too. So.
Ooh. Yeah, stay home. Get
Well,
some rest.
you know what he
you
said
got
to
things
me?
to do tomorrow.
The first thing he said to me, because I asked him, he was mowing. I go,
Right.
Steve, you want to mow? And he goes, yeah, I'll do that. And then I said, well, I go, we got these jobs. I go, I said, they're pretty big. It's prevailing wage. I got to pay. And I said, do you want to help out? And he goes, yeah, I'll do that. And his wife's going, and so I go, all right. So he did. And the very first job he did was at the Sinisippi Centers in Dixon.
Right.
And it was like hot as hell. And I mean, it was we had the whole building. I mean, there wasn't a side that we didn't plant.
Wow.
So anyway, and we had the kids there, and he was there, and I stopped out like mid-afternoon, and Steve was, like all sweaty, had dirt all over him, and I was talking to all of them. Then I went over to the van, and he comes over to me, he goes, the freaking kids are kicking my ass. And I go, Steve, they're 18 years old, you're 52. I go, what do you expect, dude?
Yeah, they got a third on you as well.
Oh, shit.
Stuart wants to know if you watched Jennifer kick everybody's butt last week.
I did.
Team Zeppelin won. Matt Fichter,
Oh,
Team
no,
Sabbath
no.
sucked. Yeah, they did. Matt fucking bowed out. Gone. See ya.
Yeah.
Wimp.
Well, when it comes to peppers, sometimes if you know, you know. It's best not to
Well,
push.
the next day, we were commenting on there, and I think my comment was, can you light a fart without a match?
Right.
So it wasn't as bad as I expected, but my stomach till about 2 in the morning was really, really kind of messing with me.
I wonder if it has to do with the consuming alcohol and the food and the other choices that are made as well.
Well, did you watch the video? Because I was down here and Steve was at the other end, but then when we rewatched the video, Steve never stopped eating.
He was
shoveling
Yes.
it in the whole time.
Grabbing whole
whether it was
tomatoes.
tomatoes, cheese, crackers, papaya, and then he was drinking Maker's Mark. He was gone. I mean,
I saw it. It was interesting. I can think of is I was at a friend's house last night where my friends are doing something called Music Gear for Kids.
Yep.
And we're all sitting around putting guitars together and that kind of thing for more of the Christmas time for the children, and we had this salsa that my friend Scott made, and he says, I like it because if you stop eating it, you have to keep eating. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because of the heat. So I think that's just what Steve was going through. Is that the only way to compensate for what you're, is just keep going. So.
Yeah. Well, the brain one's the one that did me in. So anyway, we're here tonight with Travis. Is it Ashlin?
Ashlin, yes.
Ashlin. And he is like the pepper guru from Dixon. I mean, and I didn't even realize, realize there was somebody that was like a pepper nut this close to home till I guess I met, Jennifer and Steve and everybody.
Last
they told
year?
me last year. Well, I think I saw you online and stuff like that, but
The first time we actually officially met was a year ago.
Jennifer's party.
Yeah, Jennifer's party. What we're doing tomorrow. So.
Yeah, we're having the chili. What is they? It isn't a chili pepper thing.
Pepper challenge?
Is it? Well,
The pepper party.
Pepper party.
The challenge was freaking last Friday.
Oh.
Challenged us to eat freaking, and then like I said, I forgot that white ghost or whatever that one was. We probably could have bit that one too, but anyway. So we're going to talk about peppers, but first, Travis has a business, TA Pepper Company.
TAPepper.com.
TAPepper.com.
Yep.
Where you can buy all sorts of pepper seeds.
Yep.
Seeds.
I'm
and,
just doing seeds right now online.
is that it?
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's it for now.
Okay. He's just doing seeds, and I'm going to get my seeds from him next year. But he's also, you have two, how old are the kids that help you? You do pictures, and I think it's great that they're in the garden.
Yeah, Brady's 3 and Harper's 5. They're helpful. As that goes. But
Have they ever bit a pepper and then, like when you said
Oh, yeah.
no before they could?
oh yeah, Brady's not as bad, but last year he grabbed a brain strain, a bane strain,
no.
which, I mean, it's in the top tier.
Yeah.
And I looked at him. I was like, "What's wrong with your face?" His face is all red, and he's like, "Oh, it was hot." That's all he said. It didn't really bother me. He just said it was hot. And then
He didn't cry or anything?
when I look, I found half of a pepper on the floor. And I was like, "Oh," and then there's the other half. So, and it didn't. He didn't really bother him. They both like spicy food. So
Well, I mean, being that you're the pepper, probably.
I think it's kind of like just exposed to it at an early age. I mean, if you look at like a Mexican candy, I mean, holy cow! I mean, it's got
Spicy.
it packs some punch.
Well, what's funny, the reason I ask is when Quinn was probably 4, he was out in the garden with me, and I was picking peppers and I was throwing them in there, and I turned, and before I could say no, he bit, and it was like a jalapeno or whatever, and he started crying. He was licking my jeans and that, I had to bring him into the house and get him something to drink, and stuff like that. But it bothered him, but he likes hot food too, and stuff like that. But I just wondered how the kids, and I think it's great that the kids are out in the garden with you, because I think that's something that is real important to start
Absolutely.
the kids out. I mean, Quinn, the first one I brought him home from the hospital, the first thing I did is I had a bench out there. I walked out in the garden and sat in the garden with him out in the garden and stuff like that. And all his friends always liked, I mean, this is completely different now than what it was, but they always had fun coming to the yard and that. So you're kind of like the Mr. Mom, you take care of the kids?
Yeah, my wife, she runs an Alzheimer's unit at a county facility. So we got 2 kids, and I could go back to work, and then somebody else is watching our kids, and there's, so I'm a firm believer in making your hobbies make you money. So I just turn my hobby into something where I can make money out of my backyard and raise our kids. So
Sure.
and she's very supportive. Thank you for not killing me at the fact that our house smells like capsaicin most of the time. But I appreciate that. So, but it does keep me busy this time of year. I mean, I'm working 3 to 5 hours a night. When I leave here, I got probably 10, 12 trays this size to process when I get home. So.
And it isn't like, well, I'll just do that later. There's a certain time frame.
There's a time frame because, and some of these I picked early, like this one here I picked, but when you're saving seeds, which is what I do, you really need to pick them when they're almost overripe.
Okay.
So the window is even smaller.
Right.
And what, like, see, this one here is still got a little bit of green on it.
Yeah.
This'll, I don't know if it's this one work.
I got it in
This one, okay. It's still a little green, but it's not going to get any riper.
Now,
on
what
the
is
counter.
this?
That's a Daiguito. That's a Daiguito jalapeno.
Oh, wow.
This is a
Jalapeno. Yeah, these are
You shit me.
These are jalapenos. Now these are great stuffers. They're not. They're a
Look
little
at that.
less heat.
That's a jalapeno. That doesn't look like a jalapeno to me. It looks like an apple.
This is from Drax Diego is his name. He's one of my friends, and he's an Italian grower. And the Italians are very secretive about how this happened. So, and a lot of their other peppers.
Are they pretty hot?
They're not. These are probably a little bit less than a standard jalapeno. But
Wow, these would be great to stuff because they're
these,
round.
Let me see here. Let's do this real quick. We'll just cut one open here.
Oh, look at that, Victor. He brings his own plate
See?
and knife.
There you go. Those are really thick walled.
Wow, look at that.
And they come in two shapes. There's this shape here,
Oh, I can smell the heat in it.
and then there's this shape here. And this, I mean, these are pretty easy to
I like that.
chop it flat and then stuff it and put it in the oven. This is the other one, the other phenotype that you can get. Phenotype is like a characteristic, what it should look like. And these are the two main
So it
shapes.
doesn't
So
matter.
that's a descriptor of what it looks like, phenotype.
Yeah, phenotype is like, these are apocalypse scorpions. And this isn't the right phenotype. And that's really bumming me out. They should have like a little hump right here and then like a tail, kind of like
Oh, I know what you're talking
kind of like
about.
more like a scorpion look.
Right, sure.
You know,
Where
and
it's
this-
like this.
And this has more
Kinda.
like this one has more like a fat.
It looks like a
ghost
ghost.
pepper.
Right,
Yeah.
it looks like a ghost. to me.
And I was really disappointed in that because I got 4 different varieties from 4 different vendors of the seed, and I picked the one. I was like, that doesn't look right. And I looked at the picture and I went, that looks exactly like what their picture is and what they're, so I was-
Describing it. So you
was
got
like-
what you paid for.
I got what I paid for,
Okay.
and unfortunately, I won't be saving. I won't be saving these because I just
Now,
it just won't work for me.
now
That's not the
question.
one I
See
want.
how this is like checked? That's okay.
Yeah, that's
Why
called,
do they do that?
That's called corking. It's kind of they're growing faster than their skin can handle, essentially, and usually, especially if they get. It's usually a good sign too that if you see, especially on jalapenos, that got corking like this, that usually means they're a little bit hotter
Oh, wow.
on average. Some of them just do it, like you've got the Tam jalapenos
Yeah.
out there. It's kind of weather related. These, I've never had one that doesn't look like this. So
Really?
They just, I've never seen.
These
one.
are really cool. I really like that.
Yeah, they're great.
Because I like stuff them. I have one of those, that you can put the regular jalapeno, that
Sure.
go down in. But I like these being round because you can really fill them up.
Yeah, you could just take this and just literally cut it like a little, and then
Yeah.
just stick it in the oven, and it's not going to go anywhere. It's pretty close now, but I mean.
And I've
this
got one of those. I don't know
this
if you.
one's almost
I
there.
showed you that. I'll have to get it out. The little tool I got that takes the seed and vein out.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I do it, sometimes if I don't go all the way to the bottom, the last bite that people eat, they're going like, "Shit, that was hot," because it's got the vein, or whatever.
Yeah.
In it. But I try to get it out because they aren't super hot.
I just bought a 10-pack of tools like that on Amazon like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, man, those are handy because these aren't fully ripe yet, and the other ones I just had to
Now,
pick
what's
what
that
was
one?
ready. This is a brown jalapeno, and the ones
That's
that
another. Look at that. Now that's another jalapeno.
now that's a small one.
Really?
Yeah, that's a
Put your
that's a
hand behind
small
it
one.
so you can focus it.
Is that all right?
The
That's
ones
better. Yep.
earlier in the season
That was really cool. So,
were a little bit bigger, but a coring tool with this thing just.
oh, I know that thing I've got that,
Yeah,
and
and
it pulls it right out.
Oh yeah, that's great. And then we've ate these a few times this year already.
What's the heat like?
A little bit under a regular jalapeno.
Oh.
Now when I'm talking regular, I'm not talking store-bought jalapenos because store-bought jalapenos are
Tame.
Ge-
I just
genetically they're bred. They find the ones with the least heat, and then they just they're trying, which is fine because they're getting people into the pepper game. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just it's a very little heat compared to if I went and grabbed one of your jalapenos and then the hottest one in the store, there's probably gonna be no comparison. Occasionally you find one, but not often.
Well, I tell you what would be funny is that you get somebody that's buying the store-bought jalapenos, and then you go over to somebody's house. I eat them all the time. And then they eat one of yours, you know. But you know what? I saw the difference. You know, I was buying the pickled jalapenos in the jars because I like putting them on everything. And I thought last year, I go, why the hell am I buying them? I got all these freaking jalapenos. I'll do them myself.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what. Mine are by freaking on a
Oh, yeah.
scale way, because there's sometimes I got on a sandwich and I'm like, oh man, that one freaking got me, you know.
Yeah, there's a huge difference. You know, like these are sport peppers. You know, sport peppers, the Chicago hot
Yeah.
dog. Okay, they're usually tiny and green, but this is what they. Did you grow these too, or no?
Well, mine are Serranos.
They're Serrano. Okay, yeah. These are 10 to 20,000 heat wise.
So they're pretty. They almost look like a Serrano.
But
Can
they're
you
obviously
see that all right?
Very good.
they're very tame when they're green.
Yeah.
And that's usually how they get pickled. Now I took all these and then I, sliced them up really good, and I then did a vinegar pickle thing that I did with it, and it was amazing, and they're hot. It was hotter than I expected, you know, but they are red, and the more they mature, the hotter they get. So,
We got an ancho. I have an ancho gigantica.
yeah.
And so last week when we were doing the pepper taste and stuff, we went from, I figured, well, we better start out light.
yeah.
And we ate that, and I'm just like, and I looked at Matt and I go, that's got a lot more kick than any ancho and I couldn't believe the heat to it. And I don't know if it's because of the weather or what it did, but it had a lot more kick to it than any ancho that I've ever had.
Now peppers, they will get hotter if you stress them. They don't need as much water as people normally would think. If they start to look a little sad, that's okay. And then that way when they get stressed like that, they get hotter.
Well, those two plants that are wilted out there ought to be hotter than shit then, because they're out in the garden.
Yeah, they're.
But you know what? When I first planted them, I water them pretty good. Like I'll water them like 2 or 3 times a week, and then I just stopped. Once
Sure.
they got established and I could see that they were in there, I just stopped watering. I don't water them at all.
Cassie got a comment in there, and I don't know which pepper she was referencing, but she said we may just have to stuff some for you guys to try tomorrow. Don't know.
Well,
which
that round one?
Was it maybe?
Oh, these are the ones. This is one of the few peppers that she did you gonna grow the ones I like again this year? It's this one, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably it.
So do you quiz her, like you'll sit them down? All right, I got 5 peppers. Tell me the names of these. Or?
No. She to make light of it, she thought mayo was spicy when we first got together, you know. And now she likes she likes habanero sauces and that kind of
See,
thing.
I hate that taste.
I'm not a really fan of it either. I do have, now these are small. These are I didn't find, throughout the season, peppers can get bigger, smaller, they can look different, they can do a lot of things, but these are Rogers giant habaneros. This is probably half the size of the ones that I was picking, and the same with the yellow. These should be about like
Bigger round?
bigger than this.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
See, I've
they're
always
really
had
big.
them that size. I've never.
It's Rogers giant habanero. He's been doing the same thing for like 30 years, trying to get, I don't know how long, but it's been a long time, trying to get bigger peppers out of this habanero.
So do you talk with a lot of different guys that breed peppers and stuff?
Oh yeah. I that's kind of, I've got my pepper friends, I got my music friends, and I got my friends' friends, and those all intertwine, But I converse with people all over the world about these things, and it's an interesting community, and I think
Sure.
being in music has helped me kind of understand its volatility a little bit, with there is something about, this is, like Crocodile Dundee. That's not a knife, this is a knife,
Yeah.
Where
Yes.
it's kind of that, I don't know how to say it, like almost like a machoistic kind of thing that people are protective, and it's no different than the music community, I guess. Not around here, but it's just kind of that way.
Do you find that it's more men than women? Jennifer, to me,
yes.
is like an animal.
Yes.
I mean,
there's,
she loves
there's
to eat.
I shouldn't say that, because I'm pretty sure the majority of my the people that shop my store are women. So
Really?
yeah, and it's interesting. You know, I try to pay attention to what grabs people's attention. Why would you want this? Why would you want that? Why isn't this sell? Why does this? And just try to pay attention to the statistics of things. And it doesn't always pan out, but it kind of gives me an idea of what's going to work the next year.
So are you gonna eventually do like your powders and stuff online and that too?
Yeah, the only reason I'm still working on that. I've struggled having full-time access to a commercial kitchen, but now I have full-time access to a commercial.
Because it's got to be a commercial kitchen.
Yes,
It's got to be certified.
I don't want to. I'm not going to sell anything online that I can't prove that I'm all gowned up in nothing, surrounded by stainless steel and
Right.
Sure.
in the commercial kitchen. I mean that's.
So
that's
did you
just
have
the
to
way it
get
is.
your certification or?
No, but if I did that, I'd be working under somebody who does have one.
Right, right.
But mine expired a couple years ago.
I've thought about.
But I've had it
I
before,
thought about
yeah.
doing it just to get it and just to learn, because when we had the chili pepper cook-off, I kind of had a real hard time understanding the rationale of cooking it outside with all the environmental things,
Sure.
happening versus a kitchen. And they go, well, we don't know what everybody's kitchen's like. And I go, well, I understand that. And then they came back when we did the cafe thing out there and said that, well, it's got to be covered because you're outside. And I'm going like, okay, before you told us that we could do the chilies outside and you didn't say it had to be covered. So, I just don't, I don't know. I just,
It's a good idea because you got to remember that some people have 7 German Shepherds.
yeah. So do
You know what I'm saying?
you do?
No, I'm just
Oh.
saying. No, that's not me. We don't have any dogs, but that that kind of.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
in an environment like that, no matter what.
Jennifer had a comment. They're a little bit delayed because we have the latency, and she was talking about when you guys were talking about the Etsy store, and then you're saying that a lot of women are shopping at your Etsy store, and she wonders if it's because Etsy mostly has women shopping for crafts and all that other kind of stuff. So she's listening.
I'm not quite sure. I think
I think that's kind of different. I mean,
It's hard.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say. I mean, but yeah, I don't really have an answer for that question. I don't know.
So I was a little curious about your pepper buddies, and you said that there's sometimes a little, bumping up competition.
Competition, yeah.
So are they all trying to develop peppers or
Some of them are.
some of them are?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's more just trying to owning the market share,
Okay.
of customers out there, which in social media is a lot of work. I don't do really much with social media. I on my own page, I do, but I don't have a page for my business on social media or anything like that. It's just me, and the reason is because at this point I don't have that much time.
Yeah.
You
It's
can
a
get-
full-time
you
job.
can- yeah,
Yes,
it's
it
a
is.
full-time job, and I don't necessarily know I want that because, I mean, social media is interesting. People can say whatever they want, and they just walk away from it, and they're done. So, not everybody is your friend on social media, if
No.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So-
We understand that completely.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
We used it a lot, and it's been our friend and it's been our detriment.
I get it's less than 5% of my traffic comes directly from social media.
Right.
So
That's actually really good, because that tells me that it's not so much about social, but it's about interest and passion about
Sure.
peppers. So they're seeking you out. They're not just bumping into you on a social media
Right.
feed.
I haven't done any advertising yet, and that's kind of interesting because I occasionally look things up, on like
Google or
Google or whatever, but I'm not signed in just to see if I can pull myself up, and occasionally I do, so that's kind of neat.
Oh, Karen Jones said she just got on. What is Travis's business called? Karen, it's called tapepper.com. I put a screenshot up there so you can see he's got an Etsy store and he's selling seeds right now, and he's looking to eventually sell
Powders and infused salts. And
Yes.
this is
Yeah.
one of
This is one of his, I'll just say your invention.
oh, let me take that graphic down. Okay, thank you.
that is
tapepper.com.
that is California Reaper, fresh, and then they are mixed with the salt. Then they marinate for several days, and then they get dehydrated. And from that point, it gets a quick blast in the grinder, and it's good to go. And this will last a long time. So, in fact, I just refilled this one up. I used this is my own personal one, by the way, but I used probably about an inch in like a year. So
Oh my goodness.
Is it because it's so hot, or you just don't?
I don't. I mean, I cook 90% of the meals in the house, so I gotta feed everybody. You know what I mean? I can't.
So can you grind that on yours, and then everybody
Yeah,
else
yeah.
doesn't get it? Okay.
I can't be that dick that said, "Hey, I made chili, but none of you guys can eat it." You know what I mean? So it's
See, I've been the dick, so.
yeah. And then
I made the chili and said, "You're gonna eat it."
and this is hurtberry. Did you grow hurtberry this year? I thought you did. Okay. And that's hurtberry powder.
I love the packaging.
And
I think it's really cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
thanks.
Vicki, he sells seeds, and the salt is not on his Etsy store yet.
It won't be available. It'll be available soon. I just have to get
She's checking out for Christmas gifts.
back in the commercial cushion. Well, great. Let me know if you. I actually got some orders from last week's show, so that was.
Did you? Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
So-
That's.
I had a guy try to get a hold of me through Facebook about it, and then I had another order that was local, but it's like, hey, he said a bunch, gave me some nice messages, and then he made an order, and then I read both at the same time, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, if you're local, you can just get a hold of me, but you can use the website too. So.
Right, exactly. That's what. What are some of the other peppers that you got?
Oh well, we got a few here.
What is this one?
This is the pink tiger, and this is a Reaper scorpion. Let me look real quick. I gotta make sure. No, this is a member. This is partially a ghost pepper, and then I didn't write down what the. It figures. Oh, this isn't across from the Italians, so I don't know exactly what it is, but it's very pretty, and it's got.
So that's your friend that did that?
No, not this one. But they start off green, and then they go to a purple, and then
That's really.
then
I
they
just like
turn-
that pepper.
and then they turn into like this pink, peach kind of color. When
So
it's
they
ripe.
start out dark and then turn.
They go from green to that, and then
See, I would think it would be the opposite direction. Well, that's really cool.
they're
Look at
really.
those. Aren't
They
they
got
cool?
a little bit of a floral smell to them. We can pop one open. You can
All right.
smell it.
Yeah, but I don't want to put it up. Steve
Those
got
are
it on
pretty.
his nose last week.
But
burn him.
these are
Pretty hot.
hot as a habanero.
Karen, there's a range of heat
But you
that
can-
he's showing.
You can smell. It smells kind of sweet, and it's got a little bit of floral smell to it.
I can smell the heat.
And you can smell it.
I don't even want to touch that.
Sometimes people think are crazy. They're like, well, how can you tell there's anything else but heat in there? But I mean, when I get home, I'm going to break open 500, 700, 800 peppers, and that's.
Do you wear gloves?
I go through so many gloves. I've gone through.
Like the just latex disposable ones?
Yeah, like these here.
Yeah. Oh, you
here.
got the black ones like we got.
I've gone through 700, 800 gloves this season so far.
Oh, gee.
I mean, something like these, I can play with these, get all the seeds out and do all the things and process them and do all that, and wear gloves for 15, 20 minutes. Now, if I do something like, these are primo talis, and
Oh, those are cool.
this is what most people, including myself, would consider the hottest pepper you can get right now.
Really?
Yeah,
What's it called?
It's called the Primo Tali. It's a 7-pot Primo crossed
Okay.
with the Fatali.
Put your hand behind it. Camera's catching Travis's. Yeah, there you go. Good job.
And these are
So the
These are
Fatali.
hot.
Is this the pepper or the one chip challenge pepper?
no. I haven't seen. I don't know how many commercial products have this in it, but it's the hottest shit you can get right now. They're insane. And then this one's a little overripe, but this is a golden version of it, and then this is the chocolate version of it.
Wow,
The
those are
chocolate is amazing.
You gonna put them all up there?
Yeah. It's just really, look at these. Isn't that awesome?
Oh
Wouldn't
my
you guys
God.
just love to
The color
chew
on
on,
that.
chew
Now-
on all those, you guys?
Now these, this is gloves, and like I can feel immediately. I can feel them
Through the gloves.
start to make the glove thinner. Absolutely.
Really?
Oh my
you can
gosh.
smell
So what are we talking here on the Scoville scale for something like?
Oh, yeah.
2 million plus.
Oh, good
Yeah.
God.
You
So
know,
it's a
they
killer.
say. I mean,
It's a killer.
the Guinness is the Reaper, but I can tell you,
Well, haven't they certified this or no?
it's a process with these, because you have to get it tested. And I've talked to Ed a few times, the guy that
Yeah,
created the
sure.
Carolina Reaper, and I know he's got tricks up his sleeve. You know, I mean, if you go shoot for that Guinness record, he's probably gonna go, cool, I'll see you tomorrow. You know, so he
Because I got one in the works already.
sure,
yeah.
sure, and I follow him and interact with a lot of his staff quite a bit online. They're just a lot of really nice people.
Cool. And he's old. He's an older guy, isn't he?
Well, is that relative? That's a relative
Yeah.
term. I mean, we're older people too, I guess. But
I thought maybe he might be like 70, 80. years
no,
old.
I don't think he's that old. I think he's maybe in his 50s. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I'll probably be wrong a lot too. So if I am, just feel free to correct me in the comment section.
Jennifer said that the chocolate primatale was brutal on its own, but it's so good in soup.
Yeah, she made a soup the other day and used chocolate. And these are hot. These are the thing about pepper and
Does-
colors. This was got a little more of probably a smoky sweet flavor.
Oh my gosh.
Like a red ghost is a red ghost, but this is a yellow ghost. This will have more of a citrus flavor, if that makes sense.
Sure.
It's kind of like, you know, and it's annoying as hell that in America we do this. You know, if something's raspberry, it doesn't have to be the color of raspberry. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't need to drink an orange pop when it doesn't need to be orange, you know,
Right.
but in nature, sometimes that's true. These are very citrusy. Same thing with anything else yellow. It's usually got,
It's more of a
different color.
are
Yeah.
orange. Is the orange color ones kind of the same way or no?
yeah, usually a little sweeter.
It's just like with the tomato plants. The pink ones are, if somebody, you know, there's people that can't eat tomatoes because of the acidic,
Sure.
from it. But the pink ones are usually lower acidic, so it isn't as hard on their stomachs from them. I grew one this year, and I didn't have one and I gave one to Steve, and he loved it. It's called Pink Jazz. I'm not kidding you, Travis. They're like this freaking big. One slice for BLT. We've been eating BLTs. I haven't been sending too many with Kevin because I've been keeping them back for us to slice for BLTs. But it's really a great variety. I want to grow it next year. I think it's really a good variety.
One of my favorites this year was the orange accordion. I don't know if I gave you one of those or not, but I think I gave you the Korean long as well. And the Korean long was interesting because everybody I gave it to said it looked like it was dead. And I'm like, that's just how they look. They look like they're dead from the time they start till the time they actually die. They look dead the whole time.
Where they're at.
They
Have you
don't
ever-
look healthy at all. That's just how they look.
Have you ever grown Joe's Long Cayenne?
Yes.
The only place that I've ever seen that seed is from the Seed Savers Exchange.
Okay.
But I just told Lisa, I mean, it was amazing. I'd pick those things and they'd be like this freaking long. They're just beautiful.
This is a Thunder Mountain Longhorn. This one, the tip broke off. That figures. I knew I was going to have a
Those are cool.
casualty on the
you
way
see that?
here.
Oh, look at that.
And those,
That's a lot thinner than Joe's lawn.
sure, yeah, they are a lot thinner. I forget what the name. They come from a
That's cool.
place called Thunder Mountain, I guess, is basically what it was called. I think it's a
And they're a Cayenne?
Cayenne type, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, those are cool.
Hey, Jennifer and Vicki, just let me know if that sounds a little better, because I turned it down a little bit so the cicadas wouldn't come through. Just let me know. Yeah, they couldn't hear very well because the cicadas were
Here's something
roaring.
interesting. When, you know, if you're a new grower, you can spend a lot of money and not get shit, you know. But if you go to like Aldi's, you know, at Aldi's they got a 3-pack of peppers,
Yeah.
you know, like the long sweet peppers.
Yeah.
This is from a 3-pack of peppers. I took all the seeds and I saved them and I grew them. And this is a chocolate ancient sweet from seeds from Aldi.
Well, I wonder if that's what I got out there, because mine was red, but it was real long, and Steve was going like, "That's the pepper
Thanks,
you gave,"
Jen.
you know. And I picked it last week and showed Matt, and he goes, "Man, that's a really cool." I mean, it was really nice, and that's one of the ones I cut up for the pepper jelly because it was sweet. It isn't hot at all.
Right. Well, yeah. This, my point is with this is if you want to learn how to germinate stuff and you don't want to spend $1 million making mistakes, use one of these and just figure it out. You know,
Yeah.
You need good light. You need a good medium for them to grow, and I kill shit all the time. So
Me
that's
too.
just, I mean, that's
Well,
just how it goes.
how are you getting yours started, or what's your setup at your house?
I have, I have a lot of aero garden units. I do a lot of stuff in hydro, is what I do. But I usually use peat plugs, or if you go to like Target, they've got like a tray that has 104, and you literally can fill up the tray from underneath, and they're peat plugs. You just put the seed right in the middle. There's no dirt. I don't like dirt in my house. I really don't, because
Nobody likes dirt, but they do like soil.
well it's
Oh,
soil.
geez, here we go.
True.
We had to pay our teacher in college $1 every time we called it dirt.
I'll get you that. No, when I do have soil in the house, it is
And the
it's
kids.
sterilized before if I bring it into the house, I sterilize it immediately, and then everything I use what's called the double cup method when I transplant them from the peat plug. And that's one solo cup. I thought I brought one with me, but
That's what you gave. How I saw how
sure.
you had it.
And you cut not the whole bottom out, but so that the roots can come out the bottom, and then you put another cup in, and you feed it nutrients and water from the bottom.
That's cool.
So when you do that, your topsoil is completely dry, and you don't have gnats and all the other garbage that comes with having wet soil.
So do you have to take that cup out and put a little water and then sit it back down in?
Oh yeah. I mean, I had 400 plants.
Oh my God.
So then what are you
so
doing
kids,
for
don't you wanna-
lighting then?
Lighting, spend the money. Spend the money. Get a brand like Spider or a brand like that. You know that has that. If you go to Menards or Walmart to buy a full spectrum light, just throw your money in the river. I mean, no offense.
We
to
bought
either
that.
one.
That's what those germination chambers I showed
Sure.
you. Those weren't cheap, but those lights are. I mean, I
Makes a
see a
difference.
world of difference. And
They do, yeah. And so you can get by with like a regular like 2700 light spectrum and like a 4000 light spectrum, if that makes sense. Light bulbs, if you know anything about light bulbs, it's kind of one's something more like daylight and the other one's like soft white. You can get by with them, but there will come a point where the plant's like, you need to give me all the other light spectrum. I need the red and I need the green. So if you're gonna buy lights, spend the extra money and get one with preferably like Samsung diodes. I think they're 301s, something of substance that spend $70 to $150 on a light, or else you're probably not going to have good results if you're starting early. With super hots, you have to start early. Usually, traditionally, this is the first year I did it after Christmas, but usually Christmas Day and New Year's Day are my 2 days where I plant about 100 super hots each day.
really, you
and
start them that early?
I start them that
See,
early.
I start them February 1st.
But this year I started them February 1st. And unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but I'm usually, my garden's just now getting started, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of super hot plants, especially like my Carolina Reapers. They're just now starting to really take off. They're 5 foot tall and they're gonna just get massive.
Do you notice if, since you want to start, you're starting in December and January versus his February, do you think that light and natural light and artificial light might be the variables that slow those plants down a little bit? Have you noticed any of that?
Artificial light's not real light. As soon as it's above 45 degrees, I will put everything on my porch. Luckily, I
Okay.
have a south-facing porch, and it could be a negative outside. If the sun's shining, it'll be 80 degrees in there.
Oh, that's cool.
So it really comes in handy. In
What do you
fact,
do it at night?
what's that?
What happens at night?
Oh, I turn the heater on.
I didn't know if you schlepped them in and schlepped
No, I
them
got
out.
a heater on, and and it stays 50, 55 degrees. And
Well,
anything
that helps. Mike Lubbs wanted to know about heat for the winter.
Yeah, anything below 55, your plants start to go nap time for a little while. They just kind of, but also this time of year when the weather is changing like that and it's not constantly 55, the plant goes, okay, let's hurry this up. And then they put a lot more energy into the pods and getting ripe. So I'm expecting, this time last year, I had over half my garden ripped up. So far, I've only ripped up 12 varieties. So
Just because of that 1 month delay?
because of that 1 month delay, yes.
That's amazing.
Yes, because, if it takes 150 days, it takes 150 days.
Yep.
And that's not going from the time you plant a seed and go, okay, it's going to be 150 days. That number that you see or that you get for that,
It's from transplant, isn't it?
it's from transplant. Well, this is a Clockwork Orange. Some people might take them a month or 6 weeks to get this to germinate. Not always, but sometimes they take a long time. Super hots can take a long time. In fact, most people say be prepared to wait potentially 6 weeks for your seeds to pop. So,
Are you keeping them on heat when you're trying to get them to germinate then? A bottom heat?
yeah, well, I have racks.
Okay.
And so what I'm lucky with is I'll have a rack and then there's a light. Here's a light. Here's
So you're getting the heat from the light.
getting the heat from
Yep.
the light, so
Nice.
yeah, I kind of take over the dining room.
So what do you know what your soil temperature is? Then?
No, it's best to keep it about 85, 86 degrees.
That's what I got.
ultimate.
I set it up. I've got it. I know it's on 80 in the germination chamber, and then I cover it. I had a piece of plastic over it, so what we did in the greenhouse.
Yeah, but you have had irregular germination with those really hot peppers, it
Some
seems.
of them. But the greenhouse wasn't heated. We didn't have heat on in the greenhouse,
yeah.
but the germination chamber had the bottom heat, and I had plastic over it and had the lights. And God, I opened that up, and poof, you could feel the heat.
Yeah.
Just, it was really warm in there and stuff, and the plants during the winter and stuff. So, have you? I guess when you were saying about the temperature, has there been any? Have you tried anything with? And they used this years ago when I got out of college, and it was called biotherm, but their rationale was the air temperature could be cold, but as long as the soil temperature was warmer, the stuff would grow. So I don't know if a pepper would work that way, where if you had, like the bottom heat, but the air temperature was cooler, what the plant would do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not
I
quite
mean,
sure.
it'd just be interesting to see. I don't know if that.
Yeah, the 85 degrees, we got to think like strawberries. I see a lot of times where people are like, I'm in a lot of pepper groups, a lot of gardening groups, and hey, my strawberries aren't taking off. I'm like, well, they have what's called stratification, and that means that you literally need to it needs to think it's winter. So right now I've got strawberry seeds in the fridge. I forgot about them. My wife threw the last pack away, so I wrote "Do not throw away" on this pack. She was like, "I don't know why these are in
Did
here."
you save your own seeds?
For what?
Strawberries.
No. I haven't done much with strawberries, but they need to go through. They need to think it's winter.
Sure.
And I think pepper plants are somewhat the same way. If they don't recognize it's time to do something, because they're tropical, they might not. So that window gets a lot longer for them to germinate if it's not 85 or so degrees. So.
Wow, awesome. So the other thing that you're involved in is music. So when did you start playing in bands?
1987.
What was the first band?
We were called Erosion.
That happens a lot with a lot of rain.
Yeah, we were called Erosion, and
where were you based out of?
I grew up in Byron.
Okay.
So, and that's kind of where I learned. I kind of got my thing for gardening as well. As I hated school, but I got to pick a lot of my own classes. So I got horticulture, and we built greenhouses, and we.
At the high school?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know they had a horticulture in high school.
We grew pumpkins. We planted trees. And I still got all my books from all that, and I don't read them anymore, but I still have them. But that's where I kind of got my music from too. Is I was pretty lucky going to Byron. I was in electronic music classes in high school. I was learning how to use computers when it was still green screen. Learning how to write full orchestral pieces on a green screen, and then we got an IBM and everything was color, and I was like, wow, this is a crazy thing. And I ended up giving seminars and stuff teaching people how to use MIDI. And back then it was like the computer, and then it would go to a keyboard, and the keyboard had to be hooked up to the other keyboard, and that had to be hooked up to the drum machine, and then they all had to understand each other and then I'd play along with the music, and it would play it all for me and stuff. But I think that really helped out a lot. That's where I kind of learned a lot of things. Was in school. So I didn't learn what I was supposed to, but I learned gardening and music pretty well. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was 1987 when I first started playing, and I haven't really.
And you self-taught?
No, I took lessons for a year or so from a gentleman that went to the Musicians Institute, and I just worked really, really hard at it, and then I went to college and I was a tutor for the music classes, which I realized, we're kind of doing the same thing that I've already did in high school. So I try to help out a lot of other kids and stuff that I was hanging out with in school and stuff. But yeah, it's been 35 years now. And
where did you go to college?
I just went to Rock Valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what my brother.
I was supposed to go to NIU, but life happened, so well, that's just the way it is. But.
Sure. So how long have you been with Trip and Molly?
We started Trip and Molly in April of 2012. So we've been together for over 10 years now.
Wow, I didn't know it was that new.
Yeah, well, 10 years in the local music scene is one band.
Yeah,
is actually pretty good. I just gotta say that. But, I mean, we've had different members, but the core members, Marcus, myself, and Jason have been there since day one, and we've went a lot of avenues. We wrote a lot of songs. We've done a lot of things, but it's about 5 years ago we just kind of changed our model to make a huge party that people want to show up to. Have fun, get lost in the moment, make some memories, and then just do it all over again. And that's entertainment, you know what I mean? And that's where we started thinking of ourselves as we got to reinvent the wheel. No, how about we just go out and entertain people? Because that really seems to make everybody happy, and there's more money involved, so that's always a plus.
Right.
Vicki Horton said, I listened to you guys at Franklin Grove outside of Rooney's.
Oh, Rooney's was great. That was great. I'm really happy they got a barn in that town now, and that was a good time.
So they have a barn in Franklin Grove you can play at?
They closed down the whole street.
Really?
Oh yeah, they closed down the whole street. We had to wait until the bank closed.
Well,
so
there's
that we
only
could
one
set up.
street, right?
Yeah, the one that was Main Street.
Yeah.
That's right there. scared the living crap out of me when that train went by us the first time. I didn't know there was train tracks.
Yep, right there by the town.
What's happening? So, but yeah, that was
So it shook the stage.
no, it rattled me a little bit because I had no idea. It's just you're just having a good time, and all of a sudden there's just a big old horn.
Yeah.
But that was a good show. It's getting older. It's really enjoyable to be with your friends and to do things that make you forget how crappy life can be sometimes, and
Sure.
that really does
And that's-
does the trick. And I think that hopefully does the trick for a lot of people. I see a lot of TM stickers on people's cars when I go drop my kids off. So I'm like, that might have happened at a show afterwards. Who knows?
Well, and that's what you just said that you decided to go in that vein that, if it makes you feel that way, you go, well, why don't we just do that and make everybody feel that way?
Sure. Yeah. It's
Because
good.
everybody's got a family, everybody's going to work, everybody's doing stuff, the day-to-day drudgery and stuff, and especially the last 3 years of the shit show we've been in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's been tough.
Yeah, it's 3 hours to 3 or 4 hours to just get away and hang out with people you don't normally hang out with, and meet new friends and
Like Steve.
yeah.
Scuba Steve. Steve, do you have the Bengay or not Bengay, is it?
That'll work.
That'll work. Or the minute rub on and the heating pad, and you got the dog next to you to get warmth so you can function tomorrow.
I don't know if Steve's watching. He hasn't said anything. Oh,
He-
wait, no, that's right. He's still in Facebook jail. He can't say anything.
Is he still in jail?
I think so.
That'll teach them.
Yeah. Well, I think he can say it through Chris, though.
He could.
Yeah, because usually he lurks through her when
I have a
he's there.
feeling he's
so.
hurting.
What else? Have we touched on everything or no?
Yeah,
Does anybody have questions for Travis besides what you've asked?
I think I picked up most of them.
Jennifer, would you like these trays of peppers? We'll sell them to you at a...
Some of them will be there tomorrow. Not these, because I'm gonna make these disappear, but I got other ones.
She was mad. She wasn't mad. She, when she messaged, peppers, and I said, hey, I'll drop a bag off, I'll be blah, 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 like that. So Steve took it home to her, and she goes, Travis labels all his peppers. And I'm just like, I told Steve, I go, well, she said she wanted a hot pepper. She didn't say she had to know the name of them.
Yeah, I do that because I don't know. There's 5, 6, 10,000 peppers out there.
Well,
these
look at
days.
these.
Yeah.
I'd be going like, okay, I like that pepper. What is it?
Yeah, and that's the thing that if you don't know, how are you gonna know?
Right.
Unless it's a Brazilian starfish.
Right, and I know that.
That's pretty. Did you put that one
No,
up?
I didn't. This is really a cool pepper.
And this is a yellow one.
Look at this. Aren't these? These are just. Wouldn't
are
that be
great.
cool
Those
in
are-
a jar, just all pickled, these all different shapes and sizes?
Yeah,
Those are
neat.
really good, and most of the heat is in the placenta.
Okay.
And just so we're clear, there's no heat in seeds, but if you took a bath in hot sauce, your skin would be hot too. But that's so it's the placenta is what
It's
it is.
the vein in
middle.
there.
So what I usually do when I eat them is they've got like kind of edges,
Yeah.
and you'll usually eat one edge. One edge will probably be really fruity. One edge will probably just taste like kind of like nothing, and then another one will probably have the heat in it.
Okay.
Oh, that's
and
good.
how hot are these?
I want to say they're 10 to 20,000, I think.
They're really cool. I've never grown them. I've seen the seed. I'll have to. You have that seed?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'll have to
Yeah,
do that because I just like the different shapes of the peppers. I just think they're really pretty.
Lori Hannabarger said you need to do the one chip challenge. Isn't that what I've got? A screenshot of that video that you did.
Oh yeah, I did that. Actually, I was going to bring the other one tonight just to show people, but
So Travis.
So what is the one chip challenge thing?
it's a nasty, shitty garbage chip. It tastes
turned
horrible,
his tongue blue.
and it turns your tongue blue this year. So that you can prove that it's a tortilla chip.
It's a daddle pepper.
No, I can't remember. It's got ghosts and a whole
Oh.
bunch of. It's got a whole. It's just a bunch
Powdered
of
with up.
bunch of hop powder on it with Blue One in it, and
So if I washed it off first and then ate it, it'd be all right?
no, I'm sure it's in there pretty good. It's not. It's almost like baked on.
Okay.
But when I ate it, I was like, I don't want this touching my mouth. You know what I mean? My lips. So
So how did you just took a piece off and put it in your mouth then?
I just took a bite, real good, and then I put the rest of it in my mouth in one piece, and then after it, I ate a dragon's breath, which is, let me see here, one of these guys. These kind of look like reapers. Yeah, reaper. These look like reapers. There's different phenotypes of these, but this is the one that I keep. The ones that look like. They look
And
like
this
they're
what's
reapers.
this one called?
It's called the dragon's breath, and when that
I had that
pepper
one
comes
year.
out, they want to say that that's 2.4 million Scoville. It's hotter than the Reaper, and that's a bunch of garbage. The PR behind that pepper is amazing, but in all reality, it's a version of the 7-pot Infinity, which is probably about 1.4 million or something.
It's still hot, but it's not.
It's still hot. It tastes like a Carolina Reaper, a little less acidic, and not quite. It's probably 10% less heat than a Reaper. But when this originally came out, the story was is if you eat this, it will kill you. Well, a pencil can kill you,
Sure.
So I mean, technically, they're not wrong by saying that. It's kind of that gray area where you could eat it and you could die. I mean, I could, eat a leaf and die. I don't know.
Sure, depending on what the leaf
Yeah,
was. Sure.
yeah, or a pencil, like I said. But
So that chip was hot.
Jennifer said to forget the chip challenge. The Pequi Ghost chips are pretty good. Forget the chip challenge chips.
the Pocky Ghost chips,
Yep.
those are pretty good.
That's
I've had
what.
those
That's
before.
the one that I was.
So what is this chip challenge? It's just something that goes around people.
Yeah, and then
Did Matt do it?
no, I don't think so. It's just I don't know if this is 5th or 6th year that this has been going
Okay.
on with it. It's been going on for years. Last year's chip was the worst. It had charcoal on it, and I don't know if it was because it would see your tongue would be black or whatever,
Oh
but
my God.
or maybe it would quell your stomach or something being charcoal. But that was not good.
So they don't make the chips for taste; they make it for heat.
Yeah, but they also make regular chips. And the nice thing about when I did buy, I think it was $7 a box, or $7 a chip when I bought them.
And how big's the chip?
The chips, it's a big tortilla chip, But there's a coupon in there for a free bag of $5.99 Pocky chips. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna redeem that. I'm out $1, so
Oh,
that's
Lori
not so
says
bad.
chip challenges all over TikTok, and then now they're having gastrointestinal conversations on the comments here.
Well, that'll happen too. I mean, if you're gonna eat hot peppers, I didn't know if we were gonna eat any tonight. I figured probably not, because I can do it fine, but my speech will slow down because so I'll be a little more.
Well, I want to be ready for tomorrow. I don't want to
Yeah,
ruin
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah.
I'd rather try one tomorrow than.
Like tomorrow before we go there, I'll probably eat a peanut butter and banana sandwich. That just seems to work really good.
Well, I did. I had a peanut butter sandwich. I didn't do the. What's the deal with the banana fruit?
I think it's the nutrients that are in it, the
Okay.
potassium and kind of things like that. I don't know. It could just be folklore for all I know. Who knows? It seems to work.
So now the other question is, do you have people that like message you and go like, "Hey, dude, can I get some of your peppers? I got a guy at work that thinks he's a badass. I want him to eat one of these."
No, not really. I don't. I mean, yeah.
I try to sell stuff like that.
I don't really have. I mean, I do have people that aren't my friends that will hit me up for that stuff, and I'm like, well, if you're just going into what you want to say without even saying hello, I'm just like, I don't, whatever. I'm not even gonna acknowledge it, because that's just strange. I don't know you, but what do you have for me?
Okay,
at least,
I see.
At least say hello first.
yeah.
You're right.
Well, I didn't know if you're friends because I used to take him in when I worked in the factory. I used to take him in and I can go like, hey, this guy thinks he's badass, or whatever.
Right.
I go, hey, try this. And you know, and then I'd shame them into doing it. And then when they bit it, they were going like, "Oh, you son of a bitch!" And
Yeah,
I'm
right.
just like,
Well, my neighbor, her son's a Dixon police officer, so next time he comes over, I asked him, I said, do you, you know, and everybody there, do you like hot stuff? He's like, oh yeah. I was like, all right, well, we'll hook you up then. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting him something before
and
the
tell them you
season's
want a
over.
video of it when they eat it.
Who knows? Who knows what they'll do with them? But you know, they've also been tear gassed, or I'm sure before, so they know exactly what to expect. So, but
So you're likening eating a hot pepper to being tear gas?
well, I mean the pepper spray.
Spray.
The
The pepper spray.
The pepper
Sure.
spray, not tear gas.
Okay.
But and this we were talking about Sugar Rush Peach earlier.
Yeah.
This is the Peach-a-do. Okay, Chris Fowler. The Sugar Rush Peach, Sugar Rush Stripey, Sugar Rush Stripey.
The stripey's pretty. I've never grown that.
It's a really hot item right now, and it kind of,
Just because of the look.
yeah, it's got the stripes in it, and some of them, if you just let it keep going and going and going, it'll just kind of turn red. But these are Peach-a-do. Now, a Sugar Rush Peach, this is an offshoot of that. They're
Okay.
a different phenotype. Chris Fowler made these, and these, if I pop this open, you'll see, like Sugar Rush Peach is like really thin-walled,
What did I do with that one?
and look
over there.
how much thicker that is.
Okay, I need my glasses.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
it's a lot thicker. So I mean,
Oh, that smells
You gonna
good.
put it up into the camera?
they're great.
That really smells good.
The Sugar Rush Peach is an amazing flavored pepper. Now this is, if you look at it and look how thick that is, that's pretty much all the flavor you would get out of a regular Sugar Rush Peach that's this long, excuse me, and condensed into a little pepper like this.
So
the
your
flavor.
friend that you know,
Well, he's from the UK. He's the
Okay.
one that created these, yeah.
Okay.
But these are a hot seller. I mean, they're really good. And they're not
So
real
you
hot.
can see a difference in the wall.
yeah, it's thick.
Absolutely.
Put
yeah.
them up side by side. I'm curious. To
Well,
see what they
no,
look like.
no. At least we don't have the other one.
You don't have the other one.
Oh,
I'm
we got one
sorry.
right here.
Okay.
Yeah, we got one here. Wait a minute. He's gonna cut it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can just hear with your cutting how thin it is.
Whoop.
Yeah, you can see
That's a pretty decent one there. That's
it's
this
still
one's not-
thin.
this one's not ripe, but
Okay.
these are like
Okay.
a condensed flavor punch of the Sugar Rush Peach, and
And
don't
they're
take-
kind of, to me, citrusy, kind of.
yeah, and they don't take quite as long. They're probably Sugar Rush Peach can take a couple months after they're full size to ripen. These maybe take 4 to 6 weeks, so you're gaining a couple weeks back. But
Well, depending on where you live, that might be.
right, yeah, that might be a big deal where you live. But these are really good. I just enjoy smelling them. That's part of the fun of.
Yeah, Jennifer,
Processing these.
last week, Jennifer goes, and Steve goes, let me smell, and she went like that. And it was, I can't remember which one it was, but he goes, that's burning my nose.
Yeah, I can see it burning his nose. Like tonight when I do these, I love if you could bottle the flavors and the smells that you can get from peppers that you can't find anywhere else. I mean, there's a whole world of smells and tastes once you get past the heat that are not replicated anywhere else. So I really enjoy it. It's really kind of almost like euphoric. You know, they say, you know, people who do drugs or whatever, it's usually the moment before they do it when they're getting it ready that they get the highest, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, I kind of I'll be in euphoria for a couple hours tonight, just smelling these and just grazing a little bit on them, and just smelling and tasting things that you can't experience anywhere
Right.
else in the world.
It was funny because before you got here, I go, I'm going to grind this stuff up, you know, so I got it ready for tomorrow because, you know, I'll be working all day on this stuff. But I was doing it in a food processor, just regular green peppers, and I had gypsy, which I think is a great sweet pepper, and that. I had those were red, so I was grinding them up, and she walked through. She goes, "Man, that smells good," and I love the smell of like, especially the green peppers ground up. But now when I did the hot peppers, like I told you, I was like, "Ugh," you know,
Yeah.
and I could really smell it in there. It was, I mean, it really. You got to be careful. Make sure you got a little ventilation.
Yeah, you do. This is, I made this. This is Hungarian paprika from Hungary. That's the real stuff. And then this is some I made from.
And I tell you what, if you noticed any of the paprika you ever buy in the store, it's nowhere near this light orange colored.
And this is a paprika pepper.
That's what this is from?
That's the Sejid 179 paprika pepper. That's the name of that pepper.
Pepper?
And if you smell this,
I want
you
to
smell
smell it. All right
that.
if I smell it?
Yeah, that's my own personal stash. Am I opening this wrong? Oh yes.
Yeah, I want to smell the difference.
Granted, that's a little less than a year old. But I mean, and that.
Oh,
was
it's
obviously-
it's
it's night
that
and day.
it's definitely night and day.
Yeah.
This is to me, I don't know. I think it smells fruity.
It does. It's got a fruity, smoky flavor.
This smells.
Now they're doing fields of that at a time and letting them probably sun dry.
It's more like earthy or smell to it than
Sure.
this.
So,
But the paprika, like I've got it in there, it's dark.
yeah.
You know, it's not
Yeah.
anywhere near.
And paprika is one of those things where sometimes people don't realize that it's actually can be. If you buy the just cheap paprika, you're not going to really taste anything. You know, it's just kind of.
I've never tasted anything from it.
But this, I was like, this tastes great, and then I made this, and I was like, this sucks. No, it doesn't suck, but in comparison, it's not better. Let me put
So
it
like
that
the
way.
paprika I'm buying at Kroger's sucks because there's no flavor to it.
Well, who knows how old it is, and then you've also got, like I said, they're processing, and when I do powders and stuff like that, it's 90%.
They might be grinding up worms in it even.
Oh, bud.
Well,
I've
That's-
never ever. Well, I guess I should say it this way. I've always wondered what the point of paprika was. I always thought it was just
For looks.
For looks, because there was never any flavor to it.
Yeah, that's the way, you know, you put it on deviled eggs. It's just
yeah,
the look.
that's what I say.
Yeah.
It's
The
not
look.
devil for the look. It does have flavor. You have to buy usually real Hungarian paprika to get that flavor. Some smoked paprikas that you can get from like McCormick and stuff like that are pretty good. But I mean, they're pricey as well because this is, I don't even know how many peppers this is, but let's just say it's a lot,
Yeah.
you know, to get them that way. And the fact that I'm also not using the seeds gives it you're smelling more of the smoky, fruity smell of the pepper without the bitterness
Yes,
of
all
the
the
seed.
seeds.
So it does help. And it
So you
just
set
tastes
yourself apart from everybody else.
better. Yeah, it takes longer. But you know, they will have fields and piles, you know, tons and tons of the stuff in piles in
When
the
I used to-
fields when they do this, when they process these.
Sure, and it's just like DeKalb when they had Del Monte over there. I watched them pick like pumpkins for making pumpkin, you know, in the cans, and it was just they manually had to put them in a row. But then this machine came and it just, you know, it was like a paddle thing, and
Yeah.
it just caught, and they were throwing up and they were splitting and all that. Well, they would just take them in and then they'd just throw them into the, you know, wherever the thing was and grind it all up, and that's what your pumpkin pie is made out of. I just thought like, wow, that's wild.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most people don't know what their food is, and sometimes you don't want to know what your food is, if that makes sense. But-
Exactly. And I remember when Frank Selmy, you know, they used to always hire, you know, people to pick beans. You know,
Oh,
he
yeah,
got paid
yeah.
by the bush. Well, he bought a machine. And he was out in the field the one day, and I was driving by, and I pulled over, and I went like this, and when he came down, he stopped, and I got in, because I wanted to see how this machine worked, and, you know, it was pretty wasteful, you know.
Yeah.
You know, nowhere near what a manual labor, you know.
I'm pretty wasteful too. I mean, say that in all honesty because, I mean, not every pepper is what I want to save or I should use, you know. So, I mean, like these apocalypse scorpions, that's not the phenotype. What's the point? You know what I mean? Granted, genetically, later on, this plant might start popping out ones that are proper.
Right.
Because a lot of times, your first pods of the season, your plant's still like, hey, I'm still growing. I know you want attention, but I'm not going to fully give it to you. So part of the energy is going to the plant, part of the energy is going to the pod. Neither one of them are really happy. So it's usually best to, if your first ones that are trying to come in, get rid of them, the very first ones. And then that way your plant has more time to grow and get bigger, and then it'll do more for you later.
That makes sense.
So,
Sure.
but yeah.
I have a question. I have a couple screenshots from your Facebook page, and you cover all of your peppers in netting.
Yes.
And I'm just really curious what the purpose of that is.
That's to keep them isolated. That keeps out pollinators.
Okay.
I love bees, so I give them plenty of other things to play with, but don't play with my peppers. So the netting helps ensure quality. You know, a bee could go here, could go there, could go everywhere, like Dr. Seuss, but I don't necessarily want them in my peppers. So what the netting helps, they can't really see the flowers, and they don't want to get underneath the nets. That doesn't mean that aphids and other things can't get in there, little tiny microscopic things, but I use fine mosquito netting, so bees and pollinators basically cannot get through. It really helps. It's a lot more work. It's a lot more money, a lot more maintenance. You know, I'm 6'8", so I got to bend down underneath the nets and get all this stuff. But
so it's going to preserve the integrity of the seeds that you
Yes,
harvest, and then
yes.
also, I'm assuming, the flavor of the pepper?
no,
Or not
I
so
mean,
much?
It's ultimately just keeping the pollinators out.
Okay.
So that way, you know, the seed, trying to keep seeds true to type
Okay.
is the goal. And I actually had another seller yesterday ask me, hey, I didn't isolate my pepper plants this year, but I have a lot of seeds, and I don't want them to go to waste. I'm trying to offer people heirloom varieties, that kind of thing. And he's like, do you think it would be okay if I sold my seeds without having netting? I noticed you have netting. I was like, well, I too have some seeds that I sell that aren't isolated, but you have to let people know. I mean, I think that's only fair to let people know, hey, this was under netting or completely by itself in a greenhouse or just wide open, you know. And they were saying that their plants were very, very close together. Closer than I think they probably should have been from the sounds of it. And they were wondering if it would be okay. And I was like, you're going to have issues. But even netting's not a complete guarantee that something weird won't happen. But pollen's also sticky. So the netting, you know, it'll usually grab itself to the netting because they're self-pollinating and the pollen goes straight down. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that's the main
So nothing
reason.
to do with flavor, just integrity of seed.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay.
and also it's like I said, it's more work, it's more money, it's more everything. And it's also less product in the end because they're under nets. I mean, it's
Right.
kind of like saying if you got a 55-gallon fish tank, your fish is only going to get so big.
Right.
That's kind of the same thing. It's like they know they can't grow too big. So it is less product, more work, and all the other things, but quality control is what I'm looking for.
Sure.
I've had 1,400 and some sales so far, and up until last year at this time, I only had 18 items in my store in September of last year, and that was it. That's all I had my first year. And then right when we did the pepper party like we're doing tomorrow, I kicked it up to like 80 something, and that's kind of where I've been since then. And now I'm at, I believe today, available. I have 100 varieties on the store, and then I think I have another 25 varieties that I'm waiting for the seeds to dry. From the time I process this to the time it's available in the store, these seeds in here, it's like a month. So it's kind of like the germinating 85 degrees.
Yeah.
I try to keep the seeds about that temperature for 3 weeks. So that way they're nice and cured and dried and they're ready to roll. So
Get my order in early.
it's been very busy. It's things.
So is this the
picking up.
most isolated that you've had since you've been doing it, like this
Yeah.
year? Because it looked like you had a shitload that were, you know,
Yeah.
like you had probably 50 or 100 plants isolated.
It was 70, I think.
Yeah,
70 varieties, yeah. And I think I grew 77. Some of them I don't sell, so I wasn't really worried about them. Some of them, like King Star, he's got certain varieties. He's a pepper grower, and I just grow them for fun because people really like the seeds. He's got a really big community. He's got over 250,000 people that follow him on YouTube. I've had really good luck with finding a couple new color variants that he didn't have in my garden, and I've shared seeds with him, and that's kind of neat. You know, it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of
You're
like
in the
meeting
pepper-
rock
pepper-
star. You know what I mean? It's like it was a really nice experience.
Well,
And
he
these are-
probably remembers that. So then, if you won something or something, you know, he could.
Sure.
You
He didn't want his seeds ever sold. He just wanted to be traded and gifted. This year, in May, some of the bigger heavyweights started selling them anyway. And he stated in May of this year, he's like, hey, if you want to sell them, go ahead. Thank you all for, my wishes being, that he didn't have those sold. But now he said it's okay. So this is a King Star Lemon Starburst, and this is amazing. This is an incredible pepper. This is an MOA Scotch bonnet. So it's a Scotch bonnet crossed with the Bahamian goat.
Wow.
So, and these are unreal.
You want to put some of those up?
What's this one?
This is the King Star Lemon Starburst.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it is.
Smell
Oh,
it.
I can smell.
Citrus. You can smell the citrus.
Yep.
Nice and
This is
fruity.
Is it hot?
yeah, it's like a habanero hot.
Really?
Yeah, like high-end habanero hot probably.
All right.
So, but yeah, these are a hot commodity in the pepper community. Like I said, he's had this for a long time, and he finally gave the okay to sell them. And I've been growing for years. He just wished that make sure they look right. You know, don't be selling the off phenotypes. The off phenotype, I didn't bring one. I was going to bring one just to show you what it would look like. But there's one. It's more like a flat.
So when they don't look like what you want, is that because maybe some of the seed was from the mom or some from the dad when they were crossed, or?
No, these are all stable varieties. These all been around for long enough to they all are what they are.
Okay.
But just sometimes some plants carry the genetics of whatever pepper that they came from and what they look like exactly. So if I sold one that didn't have, here's one. This one doesn't have a tip or anything
Right.
like that. It's kind of flat like a saucer.
Yeah.
I'm not saving that. I'll save it for powder or freeze it or whatever, but I'm not going to sell those seeds. I won't use those.
You
as
only
seeds.
take certain peppers.
I'll only take ones like this one here that we cut open. That's got it's got a little bit of a tail and it's got the
So you can preserve the characteristics.
right. And I mean Carolina Reapers are one that they will shoot out a million different looks, and everybody thinks that it's supposed to be round with the tail coming down. Well, that's just like an Instagram photo where you took 100 photos, but you got that one that's really good. That's kind of how that is with those is you only see the best looking ones. But Carolina Reapers specifically, ironically, they're not as stable as you would think. I probably save like a quarter of what I grow.
Wow.
The rest of them just don't have the characteristics I'm looking for. So,
Right. Cool.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really, really interesting. It's a niche. It's all, and it's something that it's great that it's something that you started out as a hobby that you turn it into where you can make some money at it.
Sure. Yeah, well, I'm at home. I got to do something.
Well, I appreciate hearing the integrity because we'll bump into in perennials and annuals, growers or breeders that get super excited about this, that, and the other thing, and this is the latest and the greatest. And sure as shit, the thing it'll be reverting, or it's not doing what
Sure.
they say it's going to do. There's no stability to the plant at all.
Yeah.
So this is actually a really important and quality of character, because I know for a fact that there's some people that get a little bit,
Sure. There's, well,
a little greedy.
the candy cane pepper out
Yeah.
there. I think that's only like a maybe F1, F2. It's like what they call filial generation, which means peppers usually need 8 seasons of picking the best qualities to where they're stable, and that's what they look like now. So that's probably like an F1 or F2. I've got the regular candy cane, which I already yanked the plants because they grew so big so fast. I was done with them. I don't need them anymore. But that's an F1, F2. But this winter, I'm going to have to grow one just to see that if they grow and look like that again.
Grow too
Sure.
crude.
Because next year they could look like a football for all I know. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
And I didn't know that at the time when I bought them, because people don't always disclose those kind of things. But
So why is 8 a magic number? Just is?
yeah, it's around the time that
They feel confident.
5,
with the
6,
stability?
7, 8 is around the time where everything is constant.
Okay.
Otherwise, you get one looks like a football, one that looks like a disc, or you could have all kinds of different things happen until they basically all look the same.
So do you ever mess around with crossing certain peppers to see about developing it all?
I haven't. I'm not really looking to reinvent the wheel. I mean, that's kind of getting lost. That's like saying I want to I want to start doing craft beer. Well,
Okay.
should start craft beer about 15 years ago, because now everybody's got one in the corner. 10 years ago there was like, you could name like 10 places, and now there's probably 10 places in Sterling for all I know. So
Just not an interest.
it's
for
growing. It's growing so fast. I mean, there's guys out there that are amazing at what they're doing, and they're taking a pepper that just came out last year, and now they're already crossing it with something else.
Okay.
So like I said, I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel. I think I just want to keep the wheels going.
it. Yeah,
So
Sure.
makes sense.
Sure. Oh, that's awesome. Is there any other questions?
No.
All right. What time is it?
10 to 8.
Wow,
Little-
really?
Almost 8.
Wow.
5 to 8. Something.
I didn't
like that.
realize it was
Yeah.
that long. Awesome.
Yeah, that was a
Well,
fun.
that's cool. What are we doing next week?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Oh yeah, pepper trivia.
No, is it? Or
Yes.
No, was that the 23rd?
It's the month of the pepper.
No, that was we were going to have Ashley on, I think.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I think we got Ashley.
Sometime in there you're having pepper trivia.
She owns Lundstrom's Florist,
oh,
where I
excellent,
started.
excellent.
I started there in '73.
Really?
My dad started there in 1929.
Hi, kitty.
Working there. They had a lot of greenhouse at the
Yeah.
time. Then in 1929, they didn't have much greenhouse when I was there in '73, but I did the flower arranging thing. So
Yeah, I love doing peppers, but I grow lettuce inside. We do eggplants, and I was gonna bring some cucamelons. You ever had a cucamelon before?
yeah, I saw
Okay.
those. Yeah.
I don't know if you ever had one, but I was gonna bring them, and
Do you have good luck with tomatoes in winter?
I do inside, but I grow determinate varieties.
Fuzzy.
Fuzzy.
Oh, you can
Well, I
shoo her.
guess-
You can shoo her off the table.
She's used to me coming down here. Where you you got stuff all in you again. Oh,
Okay, just don't go to that camera.
Yeah.
Marianne said Chuck Berry. I can't remember. What was the Chuck Berry thing? Wasn't that a
you know,
from
Mary Ann
another
said
trivia?
that.
Oh, Chuck Berry trivia. That's what she's trying to tell me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Travis. This
Yeah,
was
thank
very
you for
interesting.
you
Awesome.
guys- this place
And
is
we-
amazing, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Gee, good Lord.
So anyway, thanks everybody. Peace.
All right.
Take care.
Have a great weekend, you guys.
Yep.
I don't see John yet, so I might just leave it run a little bit till I see somebody say goodbye.
You're so soft.
Well, we just said goodbye.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. You can do what you do. Ah, there he is. Peace and love to all of you.
All right. We'll see you guys. See you, John.
Thanks.
Oh,
for
Becca
tuning in.
says tonight was very educational. Can't wait to research pepper varieties. Thank you.
All right.
Great. Great show. Thanks, guys.
Are we done?
Yeah, well, you guys can just chit-chat. I think we're done.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right.
Well, I'm just going to turn the mic off.
Okay.